Right, guys, so from my side, thank you so much for coming online this morning, taking up your time, your valuable time on this late Wednesday morning to listen in on conversation that I had with Jason Hutton yesterday. This is a pre-recorded session, so we took the time yesterday to chat through a few things and to put this together for you, where we look at the type of dialogue that you can have with individuals at the moment, whether those are homeowners in your specialist areas, whether those are existing clients of yours that are looking to sell their properties or that are currently in the market. So let me not say too much. There's already an introduction in this little video, but I wish to apologize for some of the poor audio and video quality. It was just our internet connections yesterday from Jason and myself that some of the feed didn't come through as we were hoping to, but you will definitely get the message. If you listen carefully, you'll get the message. And towards the end, as we're at the end, you are most welcome to, in the chat box, put down any of the typical objections that you get. And maybe we have a minute or two or five that we can just touch on some objections, or maybe specific requests that you have for a next session. Because as we know, the phases of this rollout until we can come out, eventually reach phase one is going to be months. So there's going to be a lot of online training. So if you have any specific needs, please let us know. Please leave your message in the chat box, and then we'll be very, very happy to address it with some of our with the help of some of our top agents. All right, so I'm going to press the play button and enjoy. I hope that you find some good value in this. Thanks, guys. I'm going to turn off my video now. And I'm also going to turn off my audio, but you're welcome to leave messages in the chat box. Good morning, everyone, Team Harcourts, and welcome to this Zoom session, this Zoom training session with Jason Hutton again, where we are going to be looking at typical scripts and the dialogues that you can have with homeowners in your area, with current sellers, with prospective sellers, and the typical objections also that you find out there in the marketplace. So today's session is a little bit of a follow-on last week's chat Q&A that we had with Jason around pricing. So there were quite a few requests from quite a number of you to have a dedicated session on the scripts and the type of dialogue that we can have with our clients. So Jace, thank you so much again to you, my friend, for making yourself available to again share your expertise, to share your years of experience in the marketplace and how you have honed your skills and your expertise over these years. For those of you that didn't join last week's session, Jason needs absolutely no introduction. Most of us in the Harcourts family around the country know Jason, and we hold him in the highest regard. We have the greatest respect for him for the success that he has achieved in his real estate career over the past 13 years. Jason, for the past 6 years, has been the runner-up, the #2 sales agent in the country for 6 years running. And in 2018, at the Harcourts International Awards, he was placed in the top 20 agents in the world. And the first time ever that two of the sales agents from Harcourts in South Africa reached the top 20 in the world. And that is out of more than 7,000 sales consultants for Harcourts around the globe. To be in the top 20 is just incredible. So Jace, we are very, very lucky and very fortunate to have you with us online today. Thank you very, very much. You want to say hi to the South African team?
Yeah, thank you, Corvus, and thank you. It's a privilege being asked to chat to the fellow team members around South Africa, and I hope everybody's staying safe during the lockdown and being proactive to try and make some sales during this hard time that we're in.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you, man. It's interesting times that we find ourselves in. So the 4 questions that I want to start off with are typical kind of lockdown questions, the typical reality that we are faced with at the moment out in the marketplace. So, guys, for those of you that are listening in, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to introduce each of these scenarios. I'm just going to read it off this page. I'm going to introduce the scenario, and then Jason and I will role play it. So this is how we go. So the first one, it's lockdown. I'm one of your current sellers, Jason, and there has been nothing happening in the past 5 weeks, and I'm really starting to get worried. I have to sell and move as soon as possible once the lockdown lifts and once the restrictions lift. How would the conversation go? So let's say we're on the phone and you are calling me and you're checking in with me. So the phone rings and I say, hello, this is Kobus.
Yeah, I was okay. Straight into it. So,
Jason, can I interrupt you? Can I interrupt you there for a second? Sorry, man. Did you want me to play that video quickly? You wanted me to share a quick video, right? Before we go into that first presentation.
Yeah, because and it's important that the video is spoken about because you signed the mandate 5 weeks prior on the normal sales cycle for your seller. So this is a now come back to rate what you spoke about in one of the first meetings you had with the seller.
Okay, so I'm going to share this video that Jason shared with me. So here we go, guys.
You always do the sales cycle for it. So obviously in a normal market, you always do the sales cycle for any property that's in the market. You typically would have done this when you signed the mandate with them, and now you're revisiting where their price should go. Nothing's happened in the past 5 weeks, so I think it's important to go through the same step again. This time it's only different. So your normal sales cycle for any property is this, which you draw, which is this is your market value, and this is your percentage above market value, 5, 10, 15%. And then obviously how long the property has been on the market, 5 months, etc. So you obviously tell them that when a new property comes into the market, which is what you would have done when you signed the mandate, that they will get this flurry of activity, which is where all the buyers that are currently in the market have an opportunity to come through and view, being a new mandate. And then obviously after around week 8, most of the people that were in the market had the opportunity to come through and view it, and then it declines to the slow trickle effect, which is the new property, the new buyers that are coming into the market. We obviously would always tell people that the best time to sell a property is when it comes into the market in the first 8 weeks, as long as your list price is within 5 to 7 to 10% of the market value, then that's when we get our offers, because people see value in the property at its list price. Now, obviously, when a property is too high, you miss that boat and you do that step, and eventually you get an offer further down the line, but sometimes it's obviously less than if they'd listed it at the right price to start off with, because in this quadrant you have buyer competition, which gives you the opportunity to get a better price from the market. The problem that we've got right now is that our market is currently now doing this. So if they leave their price at whatever you've got it listed at right now, in 2 months' time or in 3 months' time, the value isn't at where it should have been, it's actually less now. So this is what the value of their property is depreciating every day in this global recession. Now, unfortunately, we don't have the statistics because the D's office has been closed to know exactly whether that is a 5% drop, a 7% drop, a 10% drop. All we know is that the longer they leave their property at the current price, the less it will be worth in a week's time, in 2 weeks' time, in a month's time. So obviously the conversation we have to have with them is that if they need to sell and they're motivated, we need to get their price down to the actual market value as soon as possible, because in 3 weeks' time it will be worth less than whatever it is today.
All right, so I'm going to remove that off the screen and we are back online. So you wanted to share that, the reality of the price drop. So coming back to my question, I'm your homeowner that's been on the market now for 5 weeks, and we're having a conversation. I'm telling you that I'm worried.
Yeah, hi, Kuba. So obviously when we chatted 5 weeks ago, we went through the sales cycle, and that's a very different market to the market we're in today, as you're aware. We've got a situation where we actually are in a global recession. We've got a property market that is swinging and has swung in the favor of buyers, and there is a lot of downward pressure on the values of properties. Now, we've seen through the last 5 weeks of feedback from the market that our buyer inquiry has dropped. We haven't received any offers as of yet, but we have seen a feedback from the buyers that we brought through saying that there is resistance against the price. We've got a situation currently, Kubas, where we've got approximately 1,000 properties in the market that are on the market for sale. You can obviously go onto Property 24 and you can see that for yourself as well. Now, what we're going to find is that even more properties are going to come on the market as more distressed people come onto the market with financial worries, and they will be coming on at more competitively priced prices because they will have more motivation to sell if they have financial issues. So we don't want to be one of the 1,000, maybe even 1,200 or 300 properties in the market in the next few weeks, few months. So if we have a look, and I will send it through to you after we've had this conversation, Kuvers, if we have a look at the number of deals that Uber, one of the largest bond originators in South Africa, has been processing in the last couple of weeks, they have seen a 75 to 80% drop in the number of deals that they're processing. These are people that have put applications in to buy using a bond. So if we apply that number to the number of sales that have been done, and we don't have those statistics because the deeds office has been closed, unfortunately, but if we look at those statistics, it would typically tell you that out of the 1,000 homes that are on the market currently, only 200 to maybe 250 have received offers, and they might not even be approved offers. So we don't want to be in a situation where we've got distressed sellers coming onto the market, putting downward pressure on the market and the prices, where the number of homes you're competing against is increasing. What we need to do is we need to rather adjust our price now so that we can come in with the absolute best price possible to attract further buyer inquiry and make it as competitive as possible against the other properties that are in the market in your specific suburb. And you will notice if you go onto Property 24, you'll see that there's actually around 20 properties similar to yours that are actually better priced at this point in time. So we need to be the first option that buyers look at when they're making a purchasing decision. If we can come to an agreement on looking at your financial situation and coming to a price that makes sense for you, but also makes sense for the market, then I think that we need to look at that. What we're going to find is that whatever your home is worth today, Corvus, in a month's time, that actual value today could be 10% less. And it's a horrible thing to talk about, but my job is to give you the facts so that you can make an informed decision. And I know that you need to move on and that you have a plan to move your family. And I don't want your home sitting on the market competing with 1,200 homes in a month's time because we didn't make a decision on your price right now. So that's something I think we need to talk about further. Maybe you can chat to your wife about it and we can have a discussion tomorrow to catch up on where we think we need to be in the market. And then if we can do that, then obviously from a Harcourts point of view, we've got a lot of innovative things that we're doing in order to get people to make buy decisions. One of the things we'd like you to do is do a walkthrough of your home, if you don't mind. I'd just like you to make it 40 seconds, take a walk through your home, let us know why you bought the home, what attracted you to it, what are your favorite parts of the property, where you spend your time with your family, and then we'll push that really hard on social media and we'll get it out there to attract potential buyers that haven't seen your property or have only seen the photographs of it. It's a lot more personal, and I think that it will attract a lot of buyers. So I'd like to do that for you. We're also going to then also reload it on all the portals so that it goes to the top of the pile, and that should increase the number of hits we get on your property. And then obviously we'll swap around the photographs that we've got of it. We'll do a new write-up so it's fresh and appealing. And then we'll send that out to our database again. And we are at the same time also telling all of our buyers that inquire that we can pre-approve them from the word go, and that we can take an offer on your home subject to them viewing it. So we're doing everything that we can from your side, but we really need to, as we discussed at the beginning, work as a team to achieve the goals that you want for your family. So I really need you to have a look at your pricing, see what your bottom number is, sold sooner than later, because that's going to be in your best interest.
Okay, Jason, thank you for those suggestions, and thank you for that analysis and explaining to me the reality in the current marketplace. That does help me. It's not necessarily what I want to hear, but it's what I need to hear. So I will discuss it with my wife this evening, and I will do as you have requested with that walkthrough video, and then we will chat tomorrow again.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys, so just to give you a little bit of an insight on what Jason's typical conversation could be to a current homeowner that's currently in the market looking to sell, definitely looking to move on. And I'm sure that many of you have your current sellers and you're having these types of conversations. Obviously, you will be having many different types of conversations with your current sellers, but they will be asking you these types of questions, and your conversations will then obviously will very much revolve around pricing. Right, the next question I wanted us to role play is also a lockdown scenario. I'm going to read you the scenario. I'm a current seller with 3 other agencies on open mandate in Jason's specialist area. I did not call him to do a valuation on my property, but he's very active in my area. You're calling me, so Jason is calling me to chat about the marketing of my property and possibly being of service to me. My question to you is what you can offer me, what my current 3 agencies can't offer me. Are you going to try and sell yourself on the phone, or do you resort to a digital face-to-face? Or if it's out of lockdown, obviously a physical meeting. So I was curious to know what Jason's approach would be, let's say in the current marketplace, where my property is currently on the market with 3 other agencies. So Jason is calling me to have this conversation with me. So ring, and I pick up the phone and I say, hello, this is Quibus.
Hello, Quibus. How are you? It's Jason from Harcourts Platinum in Somerset West. Are you well?
Hi, Jason. Yes, I'm fine, thank you. My word, it's interesting times that we find ourselves in, being locked down, but well, how are you, Jason?
I'm very good, boy. Lockdown's not so bad. I mean, you're stuck with that beautiful wife with you, so it can't be too bad, eh?
Oh, you know my wife? Have you seen her?
No, just kidding.
I can't complain.
Yeah, no, that's great, cool. But look, I'm not going to take much of your time. I just wanted to give you a quick courtesy call. It has been difficult times, and I'm sure you've seen that. I just wanted to find out. I know that you've been listed with a couple of the other agencies, and just wanted to see how it's been going on that side. Have you had any luck?
Well, we went to market just before the lockdown. And we had, from the 3 agencies, we had a few people through the home. We haven't had any interest, and over the past 5 weeks, everything very much came to an halt. So now the property is currently on the market, but obviously we can't really do much, it seems, at the moment, but there hasn't been really any movement.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, it's difficult times for everybody. We understand that. Obviously, we're looking for proactive ways to market our clients' mandates, and we're getting, funnily enough, a lot of interest. Our hits have gone up. Some of the new things that we're doing for our sole mandated sellers is producing website hits, which is positive to see. And even some of the the colleagues in our office have actually sold properties. I think we've had about 5 or 6 sales already since lockdown. So, there's still movement in the market. It's just a question of positioning your home and the homes of our sellers correctly so that we maximize their exposure and we make them as attractive as possible for buyers. So obviously, as you know, Corvus, we actually do specialize in trying to sell properties that could have perhaps sold in a difficult market but haven't. Unfortunately, and we've seen it with other open mandates, that they seem to have been hit in this current market the worst, because unfortunately when there's an open mandate and you've got a number of agents working on it, because it isn't a sole mandate, there doesn't seem to be any accountability for an agent. And you probably find you actually getting little to no marketing. And I don't know what your feedback's been like, Corvus, but if you don't have a mandated agent and they don't have a service level in place with you, then I don't know if there's any reason for them to have to give you advice on how to move forward and feedback of how the marketing's been going, if any marketing's been going on your home. So that's one of the things we found, is that open mandates have actually found it a lot tougher. Most of the energy is going into sole mandated agents or mandates, sole mandated mandates. And we obviously have marketing plans, and we have service level plans that we put in place for our sole mandated agents, and we seem to be getting a very good response from the market on those. So, I just wanted to chat to you, because I know that if you are sort of left out there with everybody else and there's not anybody really looking after you and being accountable to you, that perhaps it's something that we can chat about, some of the different things we're doing that are producing inquiries and results on some of the mandates that we have on our books.
Initially when I went to market with a property, I did not want to mandate with a specific agency, with one agency, because I've been burnt in the past. But I hear what you are saying, that your focus is very much on your sole mandates. What do you suggest? How do we take it from here? If you want to share with me what more you guys can do on a sole mandate and the type of service, how would we have that conversation?
Absolutely. Look, I think the first thing that we can do is I can send some information through to you, some of the things that we're doing, some of the results that we're achieving for our sellers. But obviously, at the end of the day, I'm going to be accountable to you. My job is going to be to try and promote your home in this current market, let it stand out, do the different things that we do from a marketing perspective and a strategy point of view, to be able to get some inquiries, even perhaps get an offer on your home without it even being viewed. So I'd like to have that discussion with you if you're open to it. One of the other things that we're doing for our sellers, trying to think out the box and doing things differently in these really difficult, trying times, is that we have offered our existing sellers, and we can do the same thing for you as well, is an online auction for non-distressed sellers. And it's completely unique, and it's something that you might want to look at. So instead of us taking your home and put it onto the market at a specific price, attracting only a small percentage of the potential buyers in the market, we actually will put it on as a non-distressed auction. What that essentially means is that we will have a bidding price. Typically, the bidding price will be lower than your list price, but you don't have to be concerned about that. The idea is that we will look at all of the properties in your immediate suburb, the most comparable, and we'll take the best price property, and then we'll try and match that price in the market. That's really to get the phone ringing, the inquiries coming through. We can keep your list price for now at your current list price, and we will then have a 1-month period where we promote this, and then we attract people from a larger buyer pool, obviously saying starting from bidding price of X amount. And we will then give us the ability to be able to get the feedback from the market to see whether they're, where the inquiries are coming in at, where people are thinking the price should be, which will help us to determine whether your list price is actually the price that we need to be on at. The list price will be set, as I said, as your reserve price for now, but we can revisit that in 4 weeks' time when we go live on the auction. That auction will be an online Zoom auction. Anybody that's interested in bidding will get a bidder's card, and we will have them pre-approved with the banks. So when they bid, we know that they've got the cash. And if we receive an offer prior to the auction date, we can discuss it and we can see if it's something we want to move forward with. The nice thing about it is that it really does, in this difficult time, attract a lot of new inquiry that we haven't had before. I'll give you an example. One of my colleagues in the office, Michael, he's changed most of his existing sole mandates to the auction listings. And for instance, on one of his properties, he's had no inquiries on it in a month, similar to your home, Corvus. And in the last 2 weeks, he's had 14 inquiries, 4 offers, 2 pre-auction offers. Another one, he had no inquiries for 2 weeks, and now he's had 8 inquiries and 2 offers. So it's a new tool that we can use to be able to attract people to your home and to try and get it sold. We can obviously only do this under mandate, not under an open mandate, but this is just one of the tools that I would like an opportunity to chat to you about, because there's a lot that we can do for you. And I think that we need to all work together to think out the box, to do new things in this difficult time. We can't do the same thing that we've been doing for the last, 10 years. So it's something that, if you're open to it, I'd like to share some information, and we can go into some more discussions on it tomorrow after you've had a chance to chat to your wife.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Which platform do you suggest that we meet online?
Well, if you're happy about it, Corvus, then I think that what we can do is I can send you some information after this telephone call, and then we can set up a meeting on Zoom. I can send you a Zoom meeting request, and we could perhaps meet either earlier tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon, whichever suits your schedule.
Okay, 100%. I'm comfortable with Zoom, and I will confirm a time with you. Great. Thank you very much, Jason. I look forward to chatting to you about that. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you, Corvus. Bye-bye.
Right. Okay, guys. So, obviously the type of conversation with current sellers in the market that you don't have on your books could go any way. Jason shared with us now towards the end of what they do with their auction offering. If you're not in office that can offer the auction option, then you will have the conversation with that homeowner around just setting up a meeting, possibly right now a virtual meeting, and presenting what you can offer to them, as you would do when you meet with them in a sit-down meeting. So now's an opportune time to actually meet with these individuals if they're willing to meet with you in virtual space and have that face-to-face meeting, and you can share your presentation online on the Zoom platform with them, and you take it from there. Right, so I think we want to touch on quite a few other scenarios, so let's move on. We don't want to extend beyond too much of an hour. Jace, the third scenario that I wanted to look at is it's lockdown. I'm a buyer. All right, team, the next scenario that we would like to look at is Jason contacting buyers that have inquired on property over the past few weeks and just following up with buyers to see if they're still in the marketplace. So the scenario is I'm a buyer that I've contacted Jason in the past 4 weeks. He's just touching base with me to find out my status, if I'm still buying. And I'm saying to him, yes, I'm still looking to buy in a price range, in the 2.5 million price range in Somerset West, subject to the sale of my property in the Strand, but the property is not on the market yet. I still live in the townhouse, and he's just trying to establish how he can help me. So Jason is just going to point out a few things that he would typically say in such a conversation.
Okay, so Kubus, this is an easy conversation to have with those specific buyers who have to sell on the back end. So obviously in this scenario, it was selling a townhouse in Strand, which is typically a cheaper property, and upgrading to something of 2.5 million rand in Somerset West. So when you make the contact with the client, obviously just have a general chit chat and have a chat to them about what is happening in the market. Talk to them about the fact that we are in a buyer's market now and that the market is declining, that their strongest position when they want to buy their home will be if they're cash, or obviously they've sold and they're pre-approved for the remainder on a bond. So stress the urgency of the fact that the market is moving really quickly, and if they want to do something, it's best to do it sooner than later. The best way that I would approach one of these buyers, potential sellers, is I would talk to them about the value of the declining market in relation to a low-priced home and a high-priced home. So as an example, if their townhouse is worth 1 million and the current market has dropped by 10%, then we would put it on at 900,000 and they'll take a 100,000 rand knock on their price. But the important thing for them to realize is that if they're buying a home for 2.5 million rand, then the same principle will apply in the market to the value of that property. That should also drop 10%. So now instead of at 2.5 million, is at 2,250, which means that they now are paying 250,000 rand less for that property, and they've only taken a knock of 100,000 rand on their home, which means they're actually in essence scoring 150,000 rand on their purchase of their new property. So that's the discussion I would have with people upgrading in the current market, is get it on the market as soon as possible. We'll put it on at the best possible price. If you're taking a knock of 10% because the market's dropping, you will recover that plus more on the home that you're upgrading to.
Great points to remember. Thank you very much for that. And I'm sure that you'll just stress the importance to our team members around the country is to follow up with those buyers that are currently in the market to make sure that we maximize every opportunity with the buyers that are out there.
100%, yes.
Cool. Thanks, Jace. Thank you for that. Guys, just a quick one and last scenario that we want to touch on before we go into a role play around objections. I'm a homeowner in Jason's specialist area, not in the market, and he's calling me on the phone to touch base just to build a relationship. So we don't know each other, and I'm too interested to know what he would say to me. How would the conversation go? I'm literally a homeowner in his area.
So I would just phone Corbus and I would obviously do an intro. I'll say I'm Jason from Harcourts Platinum. I've been working in the industry in your suburb for the last 12, 13 years. And I know that you don't know me and that you're not on the market. I'm not asking anything from you, but because I have such a network in that specific suburb that you live in, I feel that it's important to keep all of the homeowners abreast of what's happening in the property market. And I just wanted an opportunity to perhaps share what's happening in the market as it moves and as new things change and shift. Is that something that I could keep you informed and on top of, being your most valuable asset? And then obviously most of the time the seller will, or the homeowner will say, no, I'm not interested, leave me alone. Or if they are interested, then that's the opportunity to just form a relationship. And remember, the 3 rules are you give, and then take. You're not trying to sell anything right now. You're not trying to sell yourself or ask if they want to sell and would you be the person that could sell for them when they're ready. All you're doing is you're saying the market's changed a hell of a lot. There's things happening all the time. Are you looking after your specific suburb and you're keeping all the homeowners aware of what's happening in the industry, and can you share information with them? Once you've shared that information with them 3 times, then you can start, and you formed a rapport then, and they start to trust you obviously, then you can start to ask for things. So you can then ask them the questions, do they know what their home is worth in the current market? Would they like a free appraisal that you can send through to them from the desktop? Have they actually been thinking about it moving? Has this situation affected them financially? Just give, and then ask for something in return. But this is a great opportunity to start phoning every single one of the sellers in your homeowners, in your farming area, and just asking them if they want to be kept abreast of the current situation from a property perspective. Okay. If they say no, then you move on to the next one. But even if you get 20 of the 200 people in your farming area that say, "Yeah, that sounds great, send me the information," you know that when things change, if you keep in contact with them, then you'll be the first one that gets called.
For sure, for sure. Jason, with that person that objects to giving you their contact details, let's say an email address, not really interested right now to receive that information, you would obviously follow up with them in a month or so, just to touch base with them again and continue that relationship, that conversation, I imagine, right?
Look, you'll have them on your database. I would focus right now because, I mean, we're in a situation where we need to earn money and we need to make sales and we need to get paid commission now. So it's really tough time. So I would say that if you phone, 200 people and only 20 people come back saying, "Yeah, that's great." The reason that they're asking for it is because they've got something else going on in the back of their mind. So I would actually focus on those people. You can have the other ones on a database and you can call them, in a few months' time or whatever. But focus on those people. Give them relevant information all the time. Let them know that you're thinking about them, you're interested, because those are the ones that have said, "Yes, I am interested. I want to know what's happening with my most valuable asset." And you now start feeding that information. You're forming a relationship based on trust. Then you can start to make those calls. You can phone them in 2 weeks' time. You can say, "Oh, did you get that information? Did you get that information? Yes, that's very interesting. This is what's happening," etc., etc. And then you can start. Now you've been giving, now you can start asking, and you can ask those questions. Are you thinking of, have you been thinking about what's happened to the value of your property? Would you like to know if it's affected the value of your home? Work on those ones because those are your low-lying fruit that aren't necessarily on the market right now, but they could be the ones thinking about making a move as the payment holidays from the banks run out. Then what am I going to do? So I think we've got a 3-month gap with payment holidays from the bank, which most homeowners with bonds have requested, that are now going to be starting to get a bit edgy, thinking, "Shit, in 3 months' time, my payment holiday runs out. I'm not going to be able to afford this." Now, all of a sudden, they're thinking about, what is the value of my home? What could I actually sell for? Where could I buy? And you've now, at this point, started forming a relationship with them, not based on going straight in there for the kill and saying, "Give me your home to sell," but by building a relationship based on trust, by providing them with information over the last 2 or 3 months.
Love it, love it, love it. Thank you for sharing those insights. That sounds great. Okay, then I would like us to spend a little bit of time on a typical scenario where you have the opportunity to assess a property. You've been requested by a homeowner to come and view the property, and you have had your first viewing of the property, your first visit to the property, and you've chatted about the property, you've chatted about the market with the homeowner and their expectation and the timing, and you've arranged a Zoom meeting for the following day. So you are online with the homeowner now the following day, and you've analyzed the property, you've done your CMA. You want to say something? You want to jump in there quickly before I continue with the scenario?
No. Yeah.
So, this could obviously be in lockdown where you've used the homeowner to send you a video, a walkthrough of the property, or send you photos of the property, or it could be after lockdown where you have the opportunity to physically view the property. But the typical objections that we have is obviously around price, commission, and the sole managed, those types of things. So I want us to just very quickly look at the price objection. They say to you, "I need to sell for 1.85 million rand because I bought a townhouse for 1.7. I bought this property for 1.7 million 3 years ago, and I have to be able to afford this new house in Somerset West that I want to purchase that's on the market currently for 2.5 million. But your analysis shows around a 1.65 million rand price value. Your CMA shows around 1.65 million. So I might be more than 10% above current market value, but I'm serious to sell and our family is growing. So how would the conversation be around price? And can we just pause there for one moment before you continue?
Okay.
Okay, Jason. So that would be my concern is what I bought the property for and what I think market value is, what I need to get for the property, and what your analysis shows. So I'm going to bring on the screen. I'm going to share on the screen information that you've sent me.
Yeah.
Yep, we're listening.
Yeah, so and Kubus, obviously, I said this in the last Zoom meeting, that this is the rock really where, which allows me to overcome most of my objections, and I try typically to overcome them before they're raised. Having said that, we'll work on a scenario that I haven't overcome the objections, but when you have your first meeting and you do your presentation and you get your mandate, then I always go through these stats with them where I talk to them about the number of mandates that we sell over the market average, and I talk about the percentage price drop that Harcourts achieves from the last list price to what the other agencies in our market achieve on average.
Now can I just interrupt you? These are Harcourts Platinum numbers, right?
These are actual Harcourts Platinum numbers where we've collated all the information from the deeds office to show us every home that sells in Somerset West or comes onto the market, and then what it sells for and what typically it will drop, its average drop will be. So these are actual numbers, they're not thumbs up.
Okay, right.
So obviously what I will do is I will go back to this information. So when we're discussing the price in the meeting, I will go through these stats and I will talk to them about how we achieve a better result for our sellers in the market in comparison to other agencies, and then how this relates back to overcoming this objection. So I would typically say to them, look, unfortunately, the market doesn't care what you need to sell for in order to buy something on the back end. You're not going to buy a home, you're not going to put a sign on your front lawn saying, need to sell for 1.85 million rand because I'm buying a house down the road that I can't afford it unless I do. They don't care. The other thing that is important, Corbus, is that if you list your price too high, then you're not going to be able to buy that house anyway because it's not going to sell. So when you're looking at buying, you need to realize that your price is too high, but again, you are looking at a property that will also have reduced in price because of the market. So if we actually look at the stats, however, you want to sell for 1.85 million rand. The market is indicating that the price needs to be lower. So if you sell at 1.85 million rand with another agent, then they've got a 7.5% drop in what they normally achieve for their seller. So typically then you would then get an offer of 1.7 million rand. Because we have an average drop of 2.1%, we actually could list your home at 1.735 million rand and still get you 1.7 million rand in your pocket, because it doesn't matter what the list price is, it's what you net in your pocket that's important to you as the seller. So, and even if we do that, we're going to attract more buyers because the price is more competitive for the market. And we typically could get even more than 1 or 2 offers on the table. And we could even sell it for a higher amount because we've done that for 42% of the other mandates we've taken on. So, so the bottom line is that you need to sell for a certain price. We need to determine what the market will pay, and they don't care what you want to sell it for, being the seller, and it's irrelevant really because you're not the one that's buying it. But having said that, we can show you that with the marketing and the strategies we employ, we can get a higher price for your home anyway, and we can also probably sell it for a much lower drop than the average agent out there. So we can price it more competitively, and we can still get you what you want to net in your pocket as if you were selling with another agent. If that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. Because I mentioned to you that another agency is willing to sell the property at 4%, and when in your presentation you say that you call it your Platinum Max package, right? That goes, you ask, your fee for that is 6% plus VAT. So, my initial thoughts were that 4% versus 6%, but I hear your argument around obviously the net amount in my pocket.
Yeah.
I can see that if I sell through you at 6%, where you implement your strategies versus what the other agencies do at 4%, I will still be able to get 50,000 Rand more in my pocket. And I imagine that is...
Kubus, that's exactly it. So these stats that your office, the franchises should have for the agents are so important, because when you actually go and sit down and you present to your client to get the mandate, you can always fall back on them, but they also help you to overcome the objections, a better result for them. So, so if you need to then drop your price to make it more in line with where the market says it should be, then you can do that because you're not going to have so much of a drop. If they turn around, they say no, they want to sell at 4%. The bottom line is that the commission is irrelevant. It's what the seller nets in their back pocket that's the most important thing. And if you can show them the stats, which are actual stats, and you can show them that if they are selling at 1.85 million Rand, whether it's with another agency or yourself, even if you're at 6% commission or 5% commission and the other commission's lower, because of the fact that you achieve a higher price for your marketing and your strategies, and your drop is lower from the last list price, you're still going to be able to net them more in their back pockets than if they were selling with one of the traditional agents at 4%. You have to back up everything, and when you've got these stats, it makes it very easy to overcome these objections because it's black and white. It's in front of the seller. It's not a thumbs up.
Absolutely. So you're confirming what you said to us, what you explained to us last week, that your conversation is very much based on these stats, and how Harcourts Platinum in this case is so much better than the market on so many things. The price drop, the number of days on the market, etc., etc. Okay, cool.
Exactly.
I'm happy with that.
So even with okay.
And one of the last things that we talked about was you presented the benefits, or we talked about a sole mandate. You said that the best way for me to go to market would be on a sole mandate. Can you just explain to me again what the benefits to me would be to go on a sole mandate with you or with another agency?
Yeah, and we touched on it with the open thing a little bit earlier, but the bottom line is that when you have this conversation with your seller or potential seller, is that when you are on the market, on an open market or a joint mandate, then the agents are working to sell the property for commission, but not for the best price that the market will pay. There's no buy competition at all, and you always talk to the seller about the fact that there's no specific price set on their home. It is based on a price band from a high end to a low end, and that is determined of what you will achieve in that price band by the lifestyle requirements of the purchaser. So when it's on an open mandate or joint mandate, you'll probably find that it'll always be at the lower end of that price band, because there is no strategies employed or by competition when you get offers. So as an example, and it's good to give examples if you have them in your office, Mike had a mandate in Ehrenville. It's a joint mandate with another agency. And he gave the seller a call in the afternoon, said he wanted to go and visit him. He wants to chat to him about something. He arrived at the seller and said, I've got great news. I've got your full asking price offer on your home. And the seller went completely white. And he said, well, what's going on? He said, no, the other agent brought me an offer that was 200,000 Rand less this morning, and I accepted it. And and that's a true story. But the point being is, and you say this to your seller, the point being is that if another agent that I've got a joint mandate with gets an offer, they're not going to phone me and say, hey, Jason, I've just got an offer on Mr. Blog's property. Do you have anything sitting in the wings or an offer that might be better for the seller? They're going to do everything they can to make the seller accept the offer that they've got because they want the commission. So you will always get a lower price. There will never be buy competition. And the other thing also to remember, Mr. Seller, is that there's only one pool of buyers. You don't have Rawson buyers and Remax buyers.
One.
The other thing, obviously, Corvus, is that there's only one pool of buyers. You don't have Rawson buyers and Remax buyers and Seaf buyers. There's one pool of buyers, and buyers follow houses. They don't follow agents. So if you've got your home listed with me, as long as it is marketed correctly, as long as the strategies are in place to attract as much exposure as possible, those buyers are going to see it on the portals or wherever else you promoted it, and they're going to phone me as the mandated agent, and they're going to ask to come through, and they're going to ask to come and view it. So the important thing is that there's only one pool of buyers, and you need a agency that has the right marketing and the right strategies in place to be able to track those buyers to your home. But not only that, then you actually want that agency to employ their strategies in order to be able to get buy competition, in order to get the highest price from the market. With an open mandate, it doesn't happen. And that is probably why the average drop in your area for the other agents is a 7.5% drop from the last list price. And we achieve only a drop of 2.1 because we're working for our sellers to get the highest price, not just to sell it for our commission check.
Okay, excellent, Jace. No, thank you very, very much. You know, we can definitely hear that you are so comfortable and so confident about what Harcourts Platinum and what you as an agent with your value offering from your office can offer your seller. So when you sit in front of your homeowner, your seller, you can confidently know that it's in their own interest, their benefit to go on a sole mandate with you and with a quality agency. So thank you for sharing that with us. And I wish we had a lot more time. We can probably talk about these things for another hour, 2 hours, and touch on many more objections that you find in the marketplace on a typical basis. But we're out of time, so I thank you so very much, Jace, for your time and for sharing your insights. Any last word or comment from your side before I say goodbye?
Yeah, just two things. First of all, the mandate length of time. If you have objections against that, obviously what's happening now is because there's less buyers and there's more properties coming onto the market, that time will take longer to sell. So that's the sales cycle will start to increase. So we might start going from a 2-month to a 3-month to a 4-month to a 5-month mandate. We've had that before. So that's obviously quite an easy objection to overcome now. But I would say that lastly, the most important thing is that if you have your statistics, you can work you work from those as an anchor. I would say the final thing, Corvus, is that if you can put all your statistics together, like the ones that were on the screen, you can use that as your anchor. That will allow you to overcome most of the common objections that we get in the market. And my advice is that you raise those issues and overcome the objections before they're raised by the seller. And when you've got those statistics, it actually makes your job a lot easier. You can overcome the price objection, the commission objection, the length of time on the market objection, the sole mandate versus over mandate objection. So you just need to get your statistics together, use that in your presentation as your base to work from, and become a fay with it and reel it out like it's second nature. And that, along with letting the client know that they can like you and trust you, I think is 99% of what you need to do.
Fantastic, Jace. Such a commitment, man. It requires such a commitment to know your market, to know your data, to know your stats, and to be totally committed. Otherwise, we just don't have those tools to be able to have that conversation with our homeowner. And to commitment to study our marketplace and to really have a good understanding of the market. So, Jace, thank you very much.
We're professionals, Corvus, and we need to know these stats. We need to know our market, what's happening with our competitors, and that's what we get paid for. People want to deal with professionals, but the more important thing is that when you know all of that and it's second nature to you, it just makes you swell with confidence, and that comes across as a natural conversation with your clients, and they will then believe and trust in you. So the more confident you are, the more confident your sellers will be with you, and the easier your job will become.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thanks, Jace. I really appreciate it, man. We are all so appreciative of your time, and we're all learning as we're going along. So I want to say to you guys that are signed in on this Zoom session, that we want to encourage you. We want to encourage you in this lockdown. Make those telephone calls. Make those telephone calls to your current sellers, to your prospective sellers, or the homeowners that are looking to go to market that you've done your valuations on. Stay close in contact with them. Speak to your buyers. Continue to build relationships with your homeowners in your marketplace, and know your business, but have these conversations. And then when you do have the opportunity to engage with a homeowner that is looking to go to market, and you're talking about pricing, commission, mandate, length of mandate, hone your skills, do those role plays with a colleague in the office. Now's a great time to use these Zoom platforms. There's no reason why you can't sit with a colleague in the office and have these types of conversations. And like they say, we got to be willing to sweat in practice so that we don't bleed in battle. And like Jason Hutton, you can be out there in the marketplace with a lot of confidence, and you know your business, and you can sell yourself well. So with this, we say goodbye to you all. Have a fantastic day, and stay strong, stay healthy. Jace, thanks very much for your time, my friend. We wish you great success in your business. Continue being such an inspiration that you are. We really appreciate you, and we have the world of respect for you. Take care of yourself, buddy.
Thanks, Larry. Thank you, Corvus. Appreciate it. Cheers, mate.
Thanks. Cheers, mate. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so friends, that was our pre-recording that we had yesterday. As you know, I will make those videos available to you. Whoops, see. Sorry. My apologies. I just need to do something here quickly. My word. Let's see if we can finish that off. I'm sorry. I know that you guys want to run, but let's just look at a few questions that came into the chat box. There was a question whether Jason shares with other agents in his marketplace. Let me see. It was Denise Gillen, I think, that asked that question. So Jason will traditionally, he probably wouldn't have shared from the get-go on a sole mandate. One of the stats that Harcourts, that specific Harcourts office uses, is that so they sell 88% of their properties to their own buyers. So they make every effort to attract all the buyers to their properties, and then not to share with other agencies, because that's how they sell themselves to their clients, to their sellers, to say that they prefer to work with their own buyers and not to work with other agents' buyers. And by doing that, they can achieve the highest prices for their sellers. So that is one of the things. But obviously, as the market is changing now, and as the market dynamic changes, I'm sure that he will be more open to share with other agencies. But you guys are always welcome to contact Jason. He's very helpful and always ready to give you some insights into the way that he conducts his business. Let's see if there were any other questions. Right, so thank you messages. Yep, we will upload these videos onto YouTube, which they are already, and I will send out those links to you guys. So guys, thank you very much for all your thank yous. Okay, so Jason says that they do share with other agents, but close for the first month. We attract buyers directly through our marketing. So that was Jason's answer on the platform. So I'm going to leave this platform open for another 5 minutes or so. You guys are welcome to add any last comments, or ask any last questions, or put in any last requests. If you can think of any objections that you specifically battle with, then put them through to us, and we will try and put something together for you to address, to help overcome those objections. Guys, but thank you very, very much for coming online today. Stay mentally healthy, stay optimistic, but keep working hard. Make plans every single day, be out there and strategize, plan, be different, but really, really, really put in the effort. We know it's not easy. For me also today, I'm home with a 7-year-old and an 11-year-old, with my wife being at her practice. So, we have to balance these things and find ways to navigate ourselves through these challenging times. But we really got to put in the effort. We got to put in the effort. Otherwise, we're going to be in deep trouble. But anyway, on that note, thank you so much for your time today, and look after yourself, and we will chat soon again. Cheers.